That's what happened in the last lockout that we had. They were still getting TV revenue just in case there was a holdout. So as the players, you have to understand what the quote-unquote enemy, what their strengths are. They play the long game. We have money. We have more money than you. And so we're going to play this thing out and wait for you guys to break.
Hey, Woody,
and that's really what this comes down to.
Hey, Woody, I can't let you do that. I can't let you do that, big dog. Because who I blame is you as the players. And even beyond the Damien Woodys of work, because you were a baller, my man. I know what you did on the field. It's the star NFL players. Because from the NBA negotiations, everybody wants to look back and oh, man, y'all getting paid. We need to get paid. Why you got to watch us make money to feel like you got to make money? That's what I can't stand about the NFL players. And it's the stars. You got the quarterbacks. You got the Tom Bradys. You got the Breezes. You got the Aaron Rodgers of the world that will go and fight for their money particularly, but they won't fight for the rest of the league. In our league, the guys like the Ewings and the Michael Jordans went to the back so that the Ryan Hollinses could have guaranteed contracts and get paid. And our league grew and grew. And there's more than enough money to go around, brother. You guys can get guaranteed contracts, but why do you have to look at NBA players now to say that you can be guaranteed?
But in fairness, it's not just about looking at NBA players. It's also about a cross-section of culture. Generations ago, NBA players and NFL players weren't as connected as they are now. Celebrity now hangs with celebrity. There's a point, no matter what your entertainment industry is, celebrity hangs with celebrity, gets to know celebrity. There's a reason why everybody's talking about the money that NBA players are making, and it's because it crosses everything. I know I keep mentioning Twitter, but the fact is NFL players have NBA buddies, and they see them tweeting about the contracts. We see NFL players tweeting with their kids saying, man, go play basketball, because NFL players
Why do they have to look at us, though? Why do they have to look at us?
The cultural shift doesn't happen quickly or easily. And what you mentioned, Damien, requires perspective, to understand how many players there are, but also to understand that the NBA has built for generations a system where the players matter more than the teams. The guys matter more than the logo on their chest. The fact is, like it or not for NFL players, the NFL players do not matter as much as the helmets they wear. If you're a Patriots fan, if you're a Raiders fan, you're going to be a Raiders fan no matter who's wearing that helmet. You don't care if it's scab players versus scab players. What you want is your team to win ultimately.
Woody,
that's the beast that
Woody, why can't the Untouchables stand up? Why can't the LeBron Jameses of the world, like they do for the NBA, stand up for the NFL, and you guys will be in a better
Kirk Cousins just did that.
Kirk Cousins ain't the man. Kirk Cousins is the face of the NFL?
No, and no one said he's the face of the NFL, but it's all about who has the leverage and opportunity. I've always said, if you want the ball to get rolling a little bit, you got to start with the quote-unquote franchise quarterbacks. It just so happened that Kirk Cousins is this anomaly. The guy that got franchise tag twice, got on the open market, which quarterbacks in their prime rarely do, so he had an opportunity to cash in on a guaranteed contract. It's not necessarily the stars that were, it's the guys on the middle to the back end of the roster. Those are the guys that's going to be hard to get guaranteed contracts because, again, I go to this. If you're in a lockout, you're going to have to fight the owners, and you're going to get locked out. When you talk about guaranteed contracts, you will get locked out. The NFL owners, they're going to fight tooth and nail for that. Keeping 1,700 guys in lockstep and key, that has always been the issue with the National Football League.
The players could be addressing that now by setting up a fund that could essentially help everybody bridge the gap, and they don't do that. Russell Okung can sit there and talk all day long about the difference in the contracts, but the reality of it is Aaron Donald's not sitting out right now saying, you know what, I want fully guaranteed. Khalil Mack's not sitting out saying, I want fully guaranteed. They're all going right back to the norm. So players want to go to social media to complain about the situation they've allowed to happen without helping themselves. Why am I supposed to feel for them if they won't help themselves in the process? It's their job.
Woody, I can't let you contradict yourself. You talked about communication, okay? And I get it. All NBA players, we don't always agree, but whenever there's an issue, we'll come up with one united voice. In the stance of Kaepernick and the flag, I didn't see the NFL players all come together as one and say, we may all have different views, but we're going to take one stand, because I know one thing with money, they all want guaranteed contracts, but you got the guys who are making the money, they're sitting back fat and happy, and when the untouchables, like I keep referring to, the Tom Brady's of the world, because you don't got football if Tom Brady's not playing on a Sunday. You don't want to watch if LeBron James misses a game. You don't want to see the Saints if Drew Brees sits out. It's just not the same element on the floor, and you have a worser product. And now those sponsors start going, NFL, what's going on? We don't like those guys speaking out. You guys never communicate.
But Damien is right about one thing, the fact that the players are millionaires. A lot of these guys are millionaires. I realize middle of the roster, bottom of the roster not. But you got millionaire players. They are never going to outlast billionaire owners in a standoff.
Let me clarify. He's not blaming the players and the stars, but he's saying they need to communicate. So is communication not on the stars?
No, it's not necessarily about communication. Here's the thing. when you get into a situation, again, when we talk about guaranteed contract, you are going to get locked out. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And what I am saying to you is when you're locked out and those checks aren't coming in, guess what? That's going to test your fortitude as a player. Because have you been budgeting right? Because guess what? These NFL owners, they have revenue streams coming in even in a lockout.
Hey, Woody, forget the lockout. If you get hurt, you cut. If you don't meet your numbers or the team decides to bench you like they did Tyrod Taylor going into the end of the season so you can't get your numbers, it's almost like a mini lockout. And you guys, if you look, man, stand for one thing and fall for everything. And that's what the NFL's doing. I can't buy the excuse because NBA players do it. And our best stands for it. Hats off to the LeBron James, the Michael Jordans of the world, the guys, the Chris Pauls who actually go to bat for the rest of the league.
But we'll find out at the next CBA negotiation how important it really is, because there's all the conversation about weed, there's the conversation about punishment, there's a conversation about Goodell's power, and there's a conversation about 18 games. All of it's up for negotiation. The question is, what will the players prioritize?
And Ryan, I'm going to go back to it again. It's a numbers game. You're talking about 450 to 1,700. That is a huge disparity to keep all those guys together facing the opposition like the NFL owners. That's the difference.
Woody, you know in the locker room, we've both been there before. It's always on the best player on the team. I get you may have an emotional leader. Heck, I was a leader on the team, but I wasn't the best player on any team I've ever been on, so my voice can only carry so far. And any time that I was in a winning organization, a winning team, a Kevin Garnett, a Chris Paul, a Dirk Nowitzki, a Jason Kidd, those guys were the main voices in the locker room, and we had success because they were willing to send out the hard and tough messages, and you don't have that with the NFL.
But listen, that sounds great, but when checks aren't directly deposited, I'm telling you, people start looking at their bank account like, whoa, man.